In a recent announcement, Neuralink has confirmed that they are actively recruiting the first human test subjects for their N1 brain-computer interface device and R1 surgical robot procedure. The company revealed that an independent institutional review board has granted them full approval to begin the process of selecting their first ever human patients for a clinical trial which is now known as the PRIME study, short for Precise Robotically Implanted Brain-Computer Interface. This will be a groundbreaking investigational medical device trial of Neuralink's fully implantable wireless brain-computer interface, and it's expected that the first human trial will take up to 6 years for Neuralink to complete and verify their findings. The primary study period will take place over the first 18 months after the device has been implanted. Patients will check in with a medical team every 2 months to monitor progress and ensure the Neuralink device continues to work as intended. 1-hour BCI research sessions with the Neuralink team will be completed at least 2 times per week for every patient for the duration of the 18-month primary study. The long-term follow-up phase of the trial begins immediately after the primary study and will continue with 4 clinical visits per year over the course of the next 5 years. The aim of the PRIME study will be to evaluate the safety of both the N1 implant and R1 surgical robot, then assess the initial functionality of the Neuralink technology for enabling people with full-body paralysis to control external devices with their thoughts. One of the most fascinating aspects of this study will be the first use of the Neuralink R1 robot on a human patient. The R1 is a sewing machine-like device that places the N1 implant's ultrafine and flexible threads into the motor cortex of the brain. This is the area that controls your intention of movement. Each patient in the study group, which will likely be around 10 people at most, probably less, will have a flap of skin cut away from their skull by a human surgeon who will then use a cutting tool to remove a circular section of the skull just large enough to fit the Neuralink device. From there, the surgeon may or may not also remove the layer of soft tissue that separates the brain from the skull. This is known as the dura. And Neuralink has said in the past that early versions of their procedure have not been able to penetrate through the dura layer, and that necessitates the removal. But future updates to the procedure will allow the protective dura to stay in place, and the threads of the Neuralink device will penetrate through the layer as well. At this point, the Neuralink will use an advanced targeting computer to place a total of 64 electrode threads directly into the outer layer of the brain, penetrating only a couple of millimeters deep. This will be done with a level of precision that avoids any rupture of the blood vessels that flow through the brain tissue. Once the threads are inserted, the N1 device is placed inside the void of the skull, and the skin flap is replaced and sewn shut. The first-of-its-kind surgical procedure will allow the N1 implant to be cosmetically invisible underneath the patient's skin while still being able to transmit and record brain signals wirelessly through Bluetooth connection to Neuralink's own smartphone app that will decode the movement intention from the cortex and translate it into computer input commands. The initial goal of the PRIME study is to grant people the ability to control a computer cursor and keyboard using their thoughts alone. Neuralink founder Elon Musk was quick to promote the Neuralink trial on his social media platform now known as X. Elon wrote, "The first human patient will soon receive a Neuralink device. This ultimately has the potential to restore full-body movement." Musk also sees the opportunity to remind people that his long-term goal with Neuralink has always been and continues to be a device that will bridge the gap between the human brain and artificial general intelligence. Elon wrote, "In the long term, Neuralink hopes to play a role in AI risk civilization risk reduction by improving human to AI and human to human bandwidth by several orders of magnitude." Now, that sounds a bit crazy, but what he means is that a device like Neuralink can eliminate the input lag between human thought and computer action. So, imagine a point in the future where we have created the first ever thinking machine, a super intelligent computer that can process terabytes worth of information in a single second. How could a human being possibly keep up with something like that? Typing into a keyboard would not be anywhere near fast enough. Even spoken language wouldn't be enough. We would need a direct and instantaneous high bandwidth connection between the human mind and the AI.